how machines can basically see objects without ever actually touching them. It's this brilliant, almost magical blend of electromagnetism and electrostatics, and it's exactly what keeps our manufacturing world moving at lightning speed.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the conveyor belt paradox, then look at the physics of inductive detection, followed by capacitive detection. After that, we'll compare the two head-to-head, break down shielded versus unshielded mounting, and finally, wrap things up with the ultimate selection guide.
All right, Section 1, the conveyor belt paradox. Picture this. You've got a massive, high-speed packaging line rushing steel cans, cardboard boxes, and liquid-filled plastic bottles down a belt at just incredible speeds. How does the machine actually know what's passing by? Well, historically, factories relied on mechanical limit switches to count them. But here's the catch. Physical contact inevitably causes physical wear, right? The tiny mechanical lever arms get stuck, they snap, and boom, they cause mechanical jams that bring entire production lines to a screeching, ridiculously expensive halt.
So what's the fix? Non-contact proximity sensors. By completely eliminating physical touch, these sleek little cylindrical devices can pull off millions of reliable operations. You can have one sensor flawlessly detecting a metal can while totally ignoring a plastic bottle, and then another sensor right next to it that can literally see the water level inside that very same bottle. Let's explore exactly how they pull this off.
Moving on to Section 2, the physics of inductive detection.
Let's crack one of these open. Inside the tip of an inductive sensor, there's a copper coil. When it's powered up, it projects a high-frequency magnetic field straight out from the sensing face. And when a conductive metal enters that invisible field, something pretty amazing happens. The changing magnetic flux induces swirling electrical currents right there within the target surface. These are known as eddy currents. Just think of them like tiny, microscopic magnetic whirlpools forming on the metal.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that plays out. Thanks to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, those newly formed microscopic whirlpools, the eddy currents, actually create their own opposing magnetic field. It acts literally like a sponge, just sucking energy away from the sensor itself. As that energy gets drained, the sensor's internal wave collapses. There's a trigger inside monitoring this, and when the wave collapses past a certain threshold, it instantly snaps the digital output to on. Now, because it relies purely on this magnetic induction, these sensors strictly only detect conductive metals.
Which brings us to Section 3, the physics of capacitive detection. Enter the capacitive proximity sensor. If you open this one up, you will not find a magnetic coil. No way. Instead, the sensing face contains two concentric metallic electrodes that act just like the open plates of an electrical capacitor. When you energize this one, rather than a magnetic field, it projects an electrostatic field right out into the ambient air.
Now, the capacitance between those internal electrodes is governed by a specific formula, but the crucial variable you really need to watch is the relative dielectric constant of whatever material is sitting in front of the sensor. In just open air, that constant is approximately 1, but the second any target with a higher constant enters that field, it causes the electric field lines to condense, which dramatically alters the total capacitance.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer difference in dielectric constants among everyday materials. Plastic sits around a 3, and glass maxes out around 10. But look at water. It has a massive dielectric constant of 80. That's huge. As a target approaches, the capacitance goes up until the sensor triggers. Because of that massive constant of 80, capacitive sensors are incredibly sensitive to liquids, and honestly, non-metals in general, like plastic, wood, and grain.
Okay, Section 4, head-to-head sensor comparison. Let's pit these two against each other. The first major battleground is target scope versus sensing distance. Inductive sensors, they exclusively detect metals, but because they're so laser focused, they give you highly stable, longer sensing ranges. We're talking up to 50 millimeters in a lot of cases. Capacitive sensors, on the other hand, are your utility players. They'll detect virtually anything. The trade-off? Their ranges are generally much shorter, usually under 25 millimeters, and that distance is going to fluctuate wildly depending on the target's density and moisture content.
Next up is environmental immunity, which is absolutely vital on a factory floor. Inductive sensors are the undisputed heavyweights in harsh machining environments. You can coat their sensing face in cutting oil, dust, or water droplets, and they simply will not false trigger because none of that stuff is metallic. Capacitive sensors? Well, they're highly vulnerable. Since they detect anything with a dielectric constant higher than air, just a little buildup of dirt or a thin film of moisture on the face can easily cause a false trigger.
But hey, don't count the capacitive sensor out, because it has a literal superpower, non-invasive liquid detection. By just adjusting its internal tuning dial, you can calibrate a capacitive sensor to completely ignore a low dielectric barrier. So think of a thin, clear plastic tank wall. That's a constant of 3. The sensor ignores it, but it still fiercely detects the high dielectric water, our constant of 80, rising inside. It essentially gives your machine X-ray vision to see right through the wall without ever touching the fluid. How cool is that?
All right, moving on to Section 5, shielded versus unshielded mounting. Knowing how these detect objects is only half the battle. You still have to install them into a machine frame. So the crucial point here is that shielded sensors feature an internal metal ring wrapped right around the tip. This forces those invisible field lines to project strictly straight forward, meaning you can embed the sensor perfectly flush into a metal frame. Unshielded sensors lack that band, which allows the field lines to bloom outward sideways for a longer read range. But beware, if you try to mount an unshielded sensor flush into a metal frame, that side blooming field will detect the frame itself, locking the sensor on forever. You've got to leave a clear, metal-free boundary around an unshielded tip.
Let's bring all this physics and practical knowledge together in Section 6, the Ultimate Selection Guide.
Here is your definitive 3-step decision tree. Step 1. Is your target metallic? If yes, grab an inductive proximity sensor. It's cheaper, highly reliable, and totally immune to grime. Step 2. Are you detecting nonmetals, liquids, powders, or trying to see through container walls? If yes, you need a capacitive proximity sensor. Step 3. Is the installation environment incredibly dirty, wet, or oily? If you absolutely must use a capacitive sensor in a dirty spot, you're going to need a specialized model. Maybe one with compensation electrodes or a Teflon sleeve, just to prevent those false triggers from surface buildup. If you are designing a system right now, feel free to pause the explainer and grab a screenshot of this matrix. It beautifully summarizes the primary physics fields, the detectable materials, the operating ranges, and those crucial environmental immunities we've just covered. It really is the ultimate cheat sheet for your next automation project.
As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. As factory automation just gets smarter and smarter, do you think we'll eventually see the consolidation of these electromagnetic and electrostatic fields into a single omni-capable hybrid sensor? Or is the beautiful, specialized dichotomy of these physics destined to rule the factory floor forever? It's definitely something fascinating to ponder as you look at the automated world around you.